I am Mohini Rai from St. Teresa's and I am the history teacher. So I stand here privileged to teach you all the second chapter. But before I start my class, I would like to have a short prayer. O God, be with us, guide us. May the knowledge that I instill to my dear children be of help to them, and may they find interest, develop the love for the subject. So, before I start my second chapter, the reforms, that is characteristics and observations, I would like to start with a short quote of the famous scientist Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said that if you want your child to be intelligent, make your child read books. And if you want your child to be more intelligent, then make your child read more and more storybooks and literature and books. So, today I would like to highlight on reforms, characteristics and observations, and here we will be dealing mostly with the 19th century Bengal. Did you hear me? 19th century Bengal. And in this 19th century Bengal, first we will deal with the role played by the magazines, the books that I was talking about, the periodicals, the dramas, the literatures. I'm going to deal with you, and I hope that I will give you pleasure, that you will find interest in the subject. So in the 19th century, literatures, periodicals, magazines were written not only for knowledge, but to give pleasure to the people. So, the first magazine or periodicals are also same as magazines. So, the first periodical or the magazine that I am going to talk about is Bama Bodhini. Bama Bodhini was written in 1863 by Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. Bama Bodhini. Bama means women, a woman. Bodhini means in praise of woman or in glorification of woman. So, this was written in 1863 by Vomesh Chandra Banerjee, and it was written mostly to teach women about education, to teach about the virtues of womanhood, about institution of marriage, about the miseries faced by the widows during the 19th century, and also about the remarriage of the widows. So, this is about Bama Bodhini. And another magazine that I am going to talk about, or the weekly magazine, was Hindu Patriot. It was written in 1853, and it was written by, the editor was Harish Chandra Mukherjee, and in this we see the message that is conveyed is about the Indigo Revolt, how the cultivators were oppressed by the planters, and not only about the Indigo Revolt, but they have also highlighted about the Vernacular Press Act, because during the time of Lord Lytton, in 1878, Lord Lytton passed the Vernacular Press Act, and according to the Vernacular Press Act, the newspapers in Indian language were not allowed to be published. Only English newspapers were published. So, that is why this was a protest. This magazine was a protest against the Vernacular Press Act, and also it highlighted on the initiative, on the inability, not initiative, but inability on the girls to marry on their own initiative. That means the children or the girls were not allowed to marry on their own consent. They had to take the consent of the parents, because they wanted to stop early marriage, because even at the age of 4, the girls would be married at that time. So to stop early marriage, this Hindu patriot, voiced a protest against the tradition that was going on in Bengal. Then another magazine that I would like to talk about is Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, and it was written by Kali Prasanna Sen. It was written in 1862, and beside Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, Kali Prasanna Sen also translated the Mahabharata into Bengali language, and in this Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, it is actually not a magazine, but it is a sketch of an owl, where we see that Kali Prasanna Sen has divided the people into two parts. I mean, two groups, the people of Bengal into two groups. One, the very rich people, and another, the very poor. And he has satired. Satired means to make fun of, to criticize. So he has criticized the Babus, the Bengali culture, who were Western educated, very proud, very arrogant, and not only arrogant, but they were also, very extravagant. And it is said that even the zamindars used to employ dancing girls in the farms. So they had a very extravagant and a lavish life. Whereas on the other side, he portrays about the very poor people of the society. And here is a sketch of an owl. The owl sits on the top of a tree, and the owl looks down into the streets of Calcutta, and Kali Prasanna says that as soon as the rain is over, then all the people comes out into the street, and some of them walk into the street, some of them sell, the hawkers sell goods, the women sell fish, some women, they carry gods on the tray, and then they ask and beg for money. Some, outcast Brahmins, they use instruments, musical instruments, they play musical instruments, and then they ask for alms. And also some sweepers, they come out, and then they go to the wine shop and have wine and get drunk. So he has written about the two different classes of the society, and this reminds me of the French Revolution. Though I'm not talking about French Revolution, but it reminds me of the French Revolution, because even in France there were two types of people, two groups, the haves and the have-nots. So the Bengali Babus were like the haves, and the poor people were like the have-nots. And here the haves were so rich, they had all the wealth and everything, and they were dying of indigestion. That means they were dying of overeating, whereas the poor people were dying of starvation, of hunger. So this particular thing, this Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, I find it quite interesting, because it reminds me of the French Revolution. And in this Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, this was written after the revolt of 1857, and it reminds me, but it is also about the British, how they were scared of the revolt of 1857. And the moment Kali Prasanna Sen wrote against the influential people, then a group of people came out writing in favor of those influential people. So there was a counter attack of Kali Prasanna and the writers during the 19th century. So this is about Hutum Pyanchar Naksha, and the next drama that I'll be talking about is Neel Darpan. And Neel Darpan, in English it is known as Indian Mirror, and it was written by Dinabandhu Mitra in 1859-60, and it tells us about the Indigo Revolt, where the cultivators were really harassed, oppressed by the planters, European planters, and they revolted. And you know, the condition of the indigo cultivators were miserable, terrible, because you know, their houses were burnt, and in that place indigos were grown. They were not allowed to you know, grow crops. They had to grow indigo, and to grow indigo they were given just 1 rupee during that time. So you know, the condition was miserable. And you know, in the first time in the history of Bengal, the middle class people came in support of the indigo revolt, the cultivators of the indigo revolt for the first time. They had never supported even the revolt of 1857, which is regarded as the first war of independence. They didn't support that, such a huge revolt, but they revolted the cultivators in the indigo revolt. And at that time there was a missionary called Reverend Long, and Father Reverend Long wanted Michael Madhusudan Datta to translate Neel Darpan into English, and it was translated by Madhusudan Datta, Michael Madhusudan Datta, and Michael Madhusudan Datta wrote the author's name as, he didn't write his own name, he wrote Father Reverend Long's name. So as a result, the author was now Father Reverend Long, but it was written by Michael Madhusudan Datta. So you know, Father Reverend Long was put behind bars. He was put in the prison for 3 months. So this is about the Neel Darpan. And the last periodical or the literature that I'm going to talk about is Gram Prakasika, and it was written by Kangal Harinath Majumdar. It was written in 1863, and it highlighted about the oppression of the people of the village. Gram means village, so the condition of the village was miserable. So it highlighted about the condition of the people in the village, and this Kangal Harinath was not very much educated, but he gave so much importance to education that he said that education is life. So we have to give a lot of importance to education. So with this, I come to the end of my first topic, that is the role of magazines, periodicals, drama and literature. Then I go on to the next topic, and that is the spread of Western education in India. So you know that the British Parliament, I think I'm going too fast, but the Western education, so the British Parliament passed the Charter Act of 1813, and according to this Charter Act of 1813, 1 lakh rupees was given for the spread of education. But the British government did not say which education. They didn't say Western education, neither did they say for Indian education. So, but the money was given, and at that time there were Governor Generals like Warren Hastings, Lord Wellesley, who encouraged Indian education. And Warren Hastings at that time built the Calcutta Madrasa in 1781, and Lord Wellesley built the Fort William College in 1800. So you know, now you know, importance was given to Indian education or the Indian languages only. And at that time, you know, there were missionaries like Charles Grant, and also missionaries like the evangelists who wanted the spread of education. And at that time there were 2 groups regarding education. One was known as the Anglicists. Anglicists were in favor of Western education, and the leaders were Byrd. The leaders were people like Byrd and you know, Saunders, and the people who supported Indian education or the vernacular education were people like Eliot, Prinsep. So you know, Anglicists wanted Western education and Orientalists wanted Indian education. So there was a misunderstanding between the Orientalists and the Anglicists, so that misunderstanding came to be known as the Anglicist-Orientalist controversy. So at that time now, it was not decided whether they are going to have Western education or not, because many British leaders were not in favor of Western education, because they didn't want Indians to be familiar with the Western concepts of democracy, nationalism, because they were afraid that this would lead to a revolt. Indians would revolt if they are inspired with the feeling of nationalism and democracy, so they did not want Western education. But at that time, one person who is known as the father of modern India, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. It was Raja Ram Mohan Roy who wanted the spread of Western education, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he wrote a letter to Lord Amherst to start Western education. And Lord Amherst did not, give so much of attention to Western education. But in 1828, the Governor General came to India, and he was Lord William Bentinck. And it was Lord William Bentinck who was in favor of Western education. So he appointed the board of control, one member, a lawyer as a board of control. It was Lord Macaulay, and both were in favor of Western education. And Macaulay made the Macaulay's Minute in 1835, and with the Macaulay's Minute, now Western education was going to be introduced in India. So both favored Western education. As a result, Western education started in India. And Macaulay started one theory called the downward filtration theory. And according to this downward filtration theory, he said that education will be given to the middle class, and the middle class will filter the education down to the common people. So that was known as the downward filtration theory. And in the same year, in 1835, the Calcutta Medical College was established to give education in science. And in 1844, Lord Hardinge made an announcement that whoever gets English education will get preference in government jobs. So as a result, Western education became very popular in India. And at that time, one commission came to India in 1854, and this commission was known as the Wood's Dispatch. It was headed by Charles Wood, and Wood's Dispatch came to India. And the Wood's Dispatch, gave importance to the construction of universities. As a result, in 1857, 3 universities were established in Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. And the university in Calcutta became very, very famous. It came to be known as the 5-star university, and it was known for its excellence. And in 1858, Jadunath Bose and Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, the very famous writer of Anandamath, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee were the 2 male graduates in 1858, and in 1882, Kumudini Ganguly and Chandramukhi Bose were the 2 female graduates of this Calcutta University. So with this, I finished the topic, the spread of Western education in India.